Alice Ruggles was a vibrant, kind-hearted and accomplished young woman whose life was tragically cut short at the age of 24. Born and raised in the picturesque village of Turlangton near Market Harborough in Leicestershire, Alice grew up in a very close-knit family. She was the middle child among 4 siblings, with 2 brothers, Nick and Patrick, and a sister, Emma. Her parents, Dr. Sue Hills and Professor Clive Ruggles, were both deeply involved in academia and education. Sue served as the head of mathematics at Leicester High School for Girls, the same school Alice attended during her formative years. Alice was particularly passionate about fencing, a sport she discovered on a school trip at the age of 11. Her dedication and talent led her to become a county champion and a prominent figure in the East Midlands fencing community. She trained and competed with a number of different clubs, including Market Harborough Fencing Club. Alice's prowess in fencing was evident, as she often represented her county and the East Midlands region, achieving notable successes such as a 4th-place finish in the Public Schools National Fencing Championship and winning the Leeds Open in 2012. Academically, Alice pursued her passion for design, enrolling at Northumbria University in Newcastle to study product design. While studying, Alice continued her involvement in fencing, where she served as the ladies' captain and played a pivotal role in leading her team to qualify for the British universities and colleges' sports championships. After graduating, Alice began working for Sky in Newcastle, where she was known for her professionalism and friendly demeanour. Her colleagues and friends often described her as someone with an infectious personality and a remarkable sense of humour, always bringing joy and laughter to those around her. In early 2016, Alice became briefly involved with a man named Tremaine Harry Dillon, a soldier in the British Army serving with 2 Scots based in Pennycook, just south of Edinburgh in Scotland. Their connection was forged online through a mutual acquaintance, while Dillon was stationed in a non-combative role in Afghanistan. Following his return to the UK, Alice and Harry met in person, spending time together in both Newcastle and Edinburgh. Despite the budding nature of their relationship, troubling patterns emerged almost immediately. Dillon's behaviour was marked by an insidious form of control. He expected Alice to be constantly available for him, often criticising her appearance in subtle, demeaning ways. These manipulations gradually wore her down. Upon his permanent return in April, his presence became somewhat intrusive. He began appearing without warning when she was out with friends, coercing her to leave social situations and accompany him instead. His aim appeared to be to isolate her, systematically dismantling her support network. The emotional toll of this on Alice was significant. Once lively and outgoing, she became distant and withdrawn. Tensions developed with her housemates, leading her to move to a ground floor flat in Gateshead, which she shared with a colleague. Her usual spark was dimmed. She was noticeably unhappy and professionally impacted. Family members, alarmed by her demeanour during a holiday, recognised a stark difference in her personality. Shortly thereafter, Alice learned from another woman, whom Dillon had also met over the internet, that he had been unfaithful to her. Heartbroken by his infidelity, Alice ended their relationship. However, Dillon refused to accept this decision. Over the weeks that followed, he inundated Alice with relentless communications. His messages oscillated between desperation and aggression. He reached out not only to Alice herself, but also to her loved ones, attempting to manipulate them into convincing her to resume contact with him. As time passed, his fixation deepened. He used multiple mobile phones and email accounts to bypass efforts to block him. At one point, he even resorted to emotional blackmail, crying on the phone and making threats of harming himself. Disturbingly, Dylan had also breached Alice's digital privacy. He accessed her social media accounts without permission, using the information to monitor her movements and threaten her with intimate images he had obtained covertly. When he discovered that she was seeing someone new following their breakup, he launched a smear campaign, falsely portraying her as deceitful to sabotage the relationship. By late September, his stalking had taken a further disturbing turn and had become physical. He lurked around Alice's place of residence, ringing the doorbell and vanishing before she could answer. On one occasion, he entered her back garden, knocking on her window as she lay in bed, then left behind flowers and some chocolates. After this, he left a chilling voicemail where he repeated that he, quote, didn't want to kill her, a statement as terrifying as it was revealing. Frightened and overwhelmed, Alice reported Harry to the police. They initially reassured her and issued a police information notice, a PIN, a formal warning that carries no legal weight. Despite her increasing distress and repeated follow-up calls, her reports were not taken seriously. Crucially, when she reached out again just a week later to say that the harassment had continued, officers failed to connect her account to the earlier incident. Alice, left unsupported, began to fear that the authorities could do little or nothing to help her, or protect her from Harry Dillon. 3 days after the PIN was issued, Harry sent her a parcel containing a letter filled with manipulative, guilt-tripping, and outright lies. He claimed to be under disciplinary investigation because of her actions and enclosed belongings that reminded him of their time together, claiming he would disappear from her life. Still feeling unsafe, Alice again alerted the police, but was met with skepticism. There is no surviving record of this call, but it marked a turning point. Alice began to take extra precautions, relying on friends to escort her home and securing her flat meticulously. On October 10th, without her knowledge, Harry Dillon drove down from Edinburgh and covertly observed her home, taking photos from the rear of the property. 2 nights later, he returned. After waiting nearby for Alice to arrive home from work, and even messaging another woman in an attempt to set up a rendezvous later that same evening, he broke in through a window. Armed with a kitchen knife, he confronted Alice in the bathroom, where he subsequently inflicted fatal injuries. Alice's flatmate, Maxine, discovered the horrifying scene shortly afterwards. Thanks to Maxine's quick reporting of the incident and immediate police action, Harry Dillon was apprehended at his barracks just hours later. Although he denied involvement, the evidence was overwhelming. In court, he exhibited a disturbing lack of emotion and made implausible claims that Alice had attacked him. The jury rejected his version of events, convicting him of murder. He was later sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 22 years. The court proceedings also revealed a deeper, more troubling narrative. Dillon's behaviour, characterised by a pattern of coercive control, manipulation and escalation into stalking, had gone largely unrecognised until it was too late. Alice had initially believed he was protective and caring, but in reality he systematically undermined her self-esteem, isolated her from loved ones, and attempted to dominate every aspect of her life. He even tried to turn her own family against her. Alice's story is tragically emblematic of how stalking can begin under the guise of affection, evolve into obsession, and ultimately end in violence. Her case is sadly not unique, and that is perhaps the most distressing truth. Many victims of stalking are not taken seriously. While about half of stalkers cease their behaviour after intervention, those who continue, like Harry Dillon, pose extreme risks. In such cases, stalking can be seen as murder in slow motion. In the aftermath of her death, Alice's family has become staunch advocates for reform. The Alice Ruggles Trust was founded to raise awareness of stalking and to push for systemic changes in how such cases are handled. Their goal is clear: to ensure that what happened to Alice never happens again.